Hello, everybody. This is Apple Treats, episode 5 of our second season.
Not bad. So
Yeah,
it's on October.
I hoped that we will have more, but well, at least we have fifth episode so far, and this
After
one
episode
will
10, we promised that, so as you said, the most of podcasts ends after 10th episode.
Oh yeah, so we did 10. Yeah, we did 10. So
we did more than 10.
Yeah, we are already long-running podcast, right?
Not bad.
Let's focus on the news this time. So nothing extremely important happened during this last month since we last spoke here on the podcast. We all hoped for the October event for the iPads and maybe Macs and maybe something else. That didn't happen. We did iPads. We did get new iPads, and we will talk about those, I think, just right now. Yeah, they were announced just recently, and there are a lot of things I would like to say about about both of them, like iPad Pro and iPad 10th generation. They're both are weird.
10th generation? I think it's 10.5, and it's not generation, it's just its size.
No, they said like 10, it's generation 10, and the old one, like with the round Touch ID button, is still there, and moreover, it's still sold for the same price as it was before, like $329, I believe, in US, and that's because the basic iPad is now costs more than $400, like $449, I believe, for the base model of the base iPad right now. So, and it looks like
beautiful
iPad
Apple
Air.
Pencil 1.
Yeah, let's talk about Pencil 1. I mean, this is ridiculous. So the new iPad looks like exactly like the iPad Air, except for the camera. It's now in landscape mode rather than in portrait mode, which is great for those who use conference calls and everything. But probably that might be a reason why they use Apple Pencil Generation 1 with that iPad rather than the Generation 2. Maybe the magnets and the charging interfere with the camera, or maybe just money. I don't know. That maybe both.
Yeah, maybe both. And it's I don't know, it's annoying. When was the first Apple Pencil announced? I believe somewhere in 2016 or
something like that. It was the first iPad Pro, and in order to get more details on this, so the new iPad, just iPad, uses USB-C connector, and the Apple Pencil Generation 1 has the Lightning connector. So in order to pair them, you will need two separate things. Like first is the dongle, which converts Thunderbolt.
USB-C
Lightning.
to
Lightning to USB-C, and then you will need USB-C cable in order to connect it to your iPad.
Yeah, because this dongle is both female from both sides.
Yeah. If you buy Apple Pencil right now, it comes with that dongle. But if you had Apple Pencil previously, the first generation, you will need to buy this dongle separately. It's available, for some small amount of money, but still. That's terrible. I mean, let's be honest here. That's just terrible. The amount of confusion with all these Apple Pencils, that's just too much for me. And
maybe they just have a lot of them on storage.
Probably
get rid of them.
But it's good that the iPad supports Apple Pencil, and base iPads support Apple Pencil for some time. And that's just everything is great, but this is just terrible. And yeah, I mean, they already should have migrated to the Apple Pencil second generation because it's like much easier. It can be magnetically connected to your iPad, and like you don't need a specific case for the pencil. Like, well, they also introduced new Folio keyboard, which looks nice and has the trackpad. So like iPad more and more looks like a laptop if you use these extended keyboards there. So that's also probably a good thing. Maybe the iPads will take more of the laptop market in the future, but still that this confusion with the Apple Pencil, we need to wait for the next generation, I think, until they like finally migrate to Apple Pencil Generation 2. And interestingly, the new iPad Pro, which was announced at the same day, it has camera on the portrait orientation rather than landscape. And like, it seems to me, at least, that people will use meetings like, I don't know, Teams, Zoom, on iPad Pro more than they use on regular iPads. Because probably if you some kind of a professional who attends that kind of meetings, you potentially might need the Pro, or at least you would like to have iPad Pro. And they were not able to move the camera for the next iPad Pro. That's really something. I mean, that's I don't understand that. Like, if you were able to move the camera for the regular iPad, they probably didn't want to include the Apple Pencil Generation 1 with with the iPad Pro. But still, this is terrible. I mean, and there are a lot of talks on the on Twitter regarding like if you actually need to buy iPad Pro on M2 chip rather than just like buy previous generation with M1 chip. And as of now, like just today, there were a couple of rumors in regards to Apple preparing special macOS version for the iPad Pro with M2 chip, not with the M1. All those are rumors, and it's said that we should expect this kind of macOS to be announced next year, probably on WWDC, as something like the replacement for the iPadOS, and maybe they will have like macOS running on iPad Pro and iPadOS running on iPad Air Pro, Mini, and just iPad. That's still looks weird.
So we will have so many different targets for our development. So we have iPhone, iPad, just Mac, through
Catalyst.
What's called? Yeah, through Catalyst, and now we have vice versa.
Yeah.
On iPad, we'll have these. I don't know. I believe not fully functional.
That's weird. I mean, the rumor is sketchy, but it might be true. This rumor also says that this macOS will run iPad applications. Like you can do that on the M1 or M2 MacBooks right now, like because essentially the same hardware in terms of the CPU.
MacBooks. You forget about Mac Studio.
Yeah, definitely. I forget about that. You can run that too. Yeah, you can run iPad apps there, but you will also have the actual touch screen and you will have the macOS. But in that case, it doesn't really matter to have macOS just to run iPad applications. That seems strange to me, at least. But again, those are just rumors, and I think like we need to wait until we actually see that, or at least we will have some more leaks or like more details on this upcoming.
I hope that we will be able to install this version through USB stick, USB-C stick. That would be very, very beautiful for old folks.
Yeah, but yeah, that I believe they don't provide you these sticks now even with the Macs, like they did before, like when you had the
Sure. Here you have this even for non-IRM for Intel one.
Yeah.
So since I believe 2016,
yeah they
they
stopped
embed
doing that.
this or earlier. Really, yeah, it's part of their motherboard now. Okay, yeah. iPad is strange actually. So it's fine that we have it, but
Yeah.
they definitely should do something with this lineup because it's so different.
There are a lot of iPads there, and especially since they still keep the 9th generation iPad, so the old form factor, and though that one didn't like lose its value in terms of price, which is again means that probably the new iPad is too expensive. Like I don't know. Like we will see. It's you have so many to choose from. I believe that might trigger a confusion, and the people might just don't buy any. And
Yeah, even before this, I opened a page with comparison of all these iPads. So they have these 3 panes where you can choose different iPads, and the list is enormous. It's impossible to compare anything. So when you just want to check what you want and what you want to buy for mama, it's impossible.
yeah. Right. Okay. So together with the hardware, Apple also announced the release dates for the macOS Ventura and iPadOS 16 or 16.1. So like it will be Monday, October 24th. And you, as developers, can now submit applications with live activities and applications which target the new iPadOS features or macOS 13 Ventura features. So hopefully to see those releases actually on Monday, but there are a couple issues reported on Twitter in regards to the Ventura release candidate, because it's like has still some issues with the settings application, like search for the settings. If you like click the X button to clear the search, basically clears all your settings panels, and you need to quit the app and open it again. So like, yeah,
SwiftUI is our future. Yeah, I heard it's wonderful technology.
Right.
Even for settings app.
Yeah, I think somebody in the settings app team in the macOS team, they will have some bonuses revoked, I think. it definitely, because so much backlash on one application for the operating system, that's too much probably. And yeah,
It's not a small application, it's a very important application.
It's important. It's actually it complex one, because you like third-party apps can insert their settings into the settings app, and the settings application is actually constructed from other frameworks, and like it's some kind of like Lego cubes in a way, but it's still like that's one of the important parts of the operating system. You have to prepare it properly, and the current state, it seems that they will need to work, and maybe the macOS 14 will be more focused on the bug fixing rather than just adding more features. We saw that in the past, like with the Snow Leopard and a couple of other releases, like maybe Mountain Lion as well could be considered as the bug fix release. Oh, and definitely High Sierra, yeah.
I'm still waiting for iOS 16.1, and I don't update my main phone because Apple, I cannot trust you anymore. Sorry, it's impossible.
Yeah, you need to point one release.
Yeah. So now I'm this old guy who never updates from the day one. It's impossible. I don't want.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas? Do you have any interesting ideas how we can use live activities?
So Apple already.
Before this,
yeah.
Do you have an iPhone which supports this?
So yeah, live activities, they are supported on all iPhones. Let's put it that way. But one of the features of live activities is that you will be able to use them together with that dynamic island on the 14 Pro and Pro Max. And I'm not yet that lucky owner of this device, and I'm in the process. Like I need to have to accept the fact that I will need to spend the money on this particular phone, and not just for the dynamic island, but rather for the camera, because the camera updates they are just great, and hopefully I will buy one soon. But we'll see.
So there are now two kinds of people in Apple community. One who buy Apple Watch Ultra, and other one who buy new iPhones. Combined versions of these people.
Yeah, I would say like those both are great. And Ultra, they are actually available in stores, so there are not too much of the like problems getting one. As regards to the iPhones, it's still a tricky thing. You can find them in the stores, but they are usually like went away within a day. So you need to come early to get if you want to buy them like right away and not order them online.
Okay.
Let's focus now on a couple other updates, and we will go like from recent to more older updates, because it's like one of the recent updates which I like really want to talk about is the macros, and not just macros in a way, but rather the announcement from the Swift team that they will be working on the macros, and they published a vision of how this feature can be added to Swift. And like from the day one, there were replies in terms of "Oh God, now God, no, please no," and the other were saying like "Yes, finally." So, what's your opinion on?
Yes, finally. That's it. Next topic,
yeah.
please.
And yeah, so yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because so I was always very, very skeptic about macroses. So I know in C or in Objective-C, because they're plainly stupid, very, very stupid and stuff. But we had them. It was fine. I was very, very skeptic about annotations in Java, because that always sounded like a magic. But when I tried macroses in my second favorite language, Rust, I realized that macroses is so powerful, is so beautiful solution for different problems. So starting from much more declarative solution for parsing models from JSON or from other data types, going to, I don't know, anything else. So you can just simplify your code by generating a lot of it during compilation. So
Right. And that actually, the point which was made by the Swift team, that macro like support in language will help to eliminate this magic around codable, equatable, and other like magic default implementations which are hidden now, and they
it's not hidden. You can open and read this beautiful C++ code.
Yeah,
I read it.
yeah.
It's fine and understandable how it works, but we cannot extend this. We cannot.
And you can do
act
that
on
something
this.
like that yourself. Yeah. So even if you implement
My favorite example is that how any hashable works. It works, and how it works, like that you can type some string and then type as any hashable. It works without any issue. You cannot do something like this as for any of your other classes. Sorry, nothing. It doesn't work. And I read the code, and why I read it? Because I wanted to have any equatable. It was very important for me to have it.
Yeah.
And big part of the solution for any hashable it is Swift written, so it has some background Swift classes that handles all this stuff inside any hashable class structure. But they also have a lot of stuff inside a compiler,
Yeah.
and this is magic. I don't like it. Please, Apple, give us an opportunity to do probably not this. I don't want to implement some stuff like as by myself. I want it, but yeah, I understand this is very, very tricky. But come on, code generation. We have the sorcery. We have sorcery pro now. So Apple, it's so much time we spent on generating all this stuff by ourselves. Please give us this.
Yeah, my like I have mixed opinion on this as well. I mean, from one perspective, it's amazing that you will be able to control how the features like default protocol implementations will work when you need the access to all members of the types. On the other hand, I'm pretty much sure this feature could be easily abused, and you can have projects which have like tons of macros everywhere, and they are doing a lot of unreadable stuff there. And there are two things with that. That probably that might affect the compilation time. That is bad, but it's not a big problem. But the biggest problem is how easy it would be to debug the code which use macros, because you will be dealing with the source code and not with the expanded source code. Probably, again, that's still up to debate. But
I think so. How it works now with all this stuff related, for example, for auto-generated NS managed objects, you can view its code.
yeah,
And I believe you can set a breakpoint there because it's just compiled code, not compiled, but generated code on during the compilation. So, and for specifically for debug mode of compiler, they can just leave these not files but some views, some
yeah, we need something.
headers,
Yeah.
yeah, which we can use.
So we will see. And like those who are not familiar with that, please take a look on the this vision document and maybe participate in Swift forums in terms of the discussion, because this feature is new and it will definitely like evolve. Like the timing shows that they probably want this feature to be announced on next WWDC, but I'm not sure they will be able to like fit it within this time frame. It might be postponed till another release, maybe. I don't know. Like this is from my perspective, this feature looks like more complicated than it would like to be implemented within
Yeah,
time
because
frame.
it's a very, very complex API. You have to consider a lot of different stuff. And for example, in Rust, there are two kinds of macroses. One that just works like annotations. Another one is just a simple macroses, which expands into code as an expression. So, and it's complex, and this is complicated a task.
Right.
It's not complex. So, and I believe that community can impact on this decision and help to
I
decide.
definitely think so. Yeah.
And talking about complexity of projects written with microsense, it depends. So I remember times of Swift version 2 when so many people, so many libraries abused custom not attributes. What's called like operators. So
Yeah.
I remember these ugly JSON parsing libraries with I don't know
Yeah. Brackets,
less
equal signs, and
brackets.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so ugly. But do you see this now? I don't see it. So I will. Yeah, we'll have some pain with this. Of course, it's something new. People overuse this, but gradually, Apple and community shouldn't treat just the regular developers as morons. They know what they need, and also please give us some time and resource and money to do some refactoring after this. So
Oh yeah, that's we need to announce. And well, again, we'll see. That's just for all those who are looking into this and I don't participate in language development. Yeah, this time you might actually want to do that because it's something which you potentially will face soon. And even if it's not for you to create these macros, it might be something which will be used on your project or because of some other developers. And you might, just one mention, if you are not familiar, these macros are not those which you would see in C, like define something which you can create some crazy stuff. Here there are some type safe ways of creating the code and working on the code. So it's an interesting approach and it's definitely worth reading. So I would propose you to spend some time on looking into this document and maybe I don't know, giving your ideas if you have any. I think that will help.
Yeah, so since Swift is a high-level coding language, we should have something so high abstractions, I would say.
Yeah. And speaking of reading something, let's also mention the document which was provided by famous Twitter farmer guy Slava Pestov, who is also works on the Swift language, and his document is called Compiling Swift Generics. It's something like 120 something pages document, which explains how generics work in Swift. I wouldn't call this document great nighttime reading, but I would again, it really helps to understand the concepts behind the generics, the protocols, associated types, and how it all works internally. So if you ever struggled with the understanding of the existential types and why does this protocol cannot be used in such way which you want it to be used, this document is really good thing. I started it. I did not finish it myself. I'm still going through this. But I definitely recommend this document to get in your book. It's available as a PDF file. We will add links to both of these to the show description later on. But I strongly recommend reading this document. It really helps to put this whole concept of generics one by one. You have better understanding on how it works, what does it mean, what is the generic, what kind of generics are there, and so on.
This will really help you if you decide to introduce generics into your programming language.
If you want to basically, and by the way, maybe after reading this document you would like to contribute to the Swift itself and become compiler engineer. That also might happen and that probably will help the community as well. Okay.
VirtualBox.
Yeah, that's also worth noting. So previously it was you had to use some kind of commercial solutions to get your virtual machines on your Apple Silicon Macs. VirtualBox 7 now supports Apple Silicon Macs finally, and you can use it with your flows which require having the virtual machines. It doesn't create Intel environment no VM software do that, but so you will need to use some RAM based guest platforms there, but still you can use almost everything which is available, and that's actually great news. And if you needed something to run your virtual machines, VirtualBox is there, so you can try.
I need to check if we have a version of Docker for ARM Linux.
I believe there is one. I think several months ago there was an announcement that Docker now supports RAM as well on. And it actually supports Apple Silicon right now, as far as I remember. So for the RAM Linux,
unfortunately, we cannot use Docker desktop.
That's true.
So
I would like to talk one more thing, and that's not a development topic. I mean, like not entirely development, but the whole thing regarding AirTags.
How many of them do you have?
Let me recount 6, or I think 6, something like that. So I purchased them.
Ideas of using them.
So basically, I put them to my keys, to my wallets, I was using them when we were moving, and I had 6 luggage places, so I had to put into all of them. And by that time, so maybe we need to get the context here. So Lufthansa announced in Twitter, like in the reply of, I believe, to somebody, that they are banning use of AirTags in the checked luggage, and you have to turn them off. So basically, you will not be able to control where your luggage is using the AirTags. Some time has passed.
How you can turn off your AirTags?
Yeah, well, you need to...
Except removing...
remove the battery and and they were saying that these are electronic devices which have like radio capabilities, and that's prohibited by the regulators, at least in Europe, I believe they were saying that. So a couple of days, there were a lot of discussions on Twitter and on some forums. And then finally, Apple stepped in, and Lufthansa, I believe they also made a statement that no, you don't need to turn off your AirTags. They are supported, and they do not violate any rules of the regulators there. So you still can use them.
And you still need to disable your MacBooks.
MacBooks, you have to put, you can't put big batteries in your checked baggage. You have luggage. You have to use put them into your carry-on. So when I was moving, I was using the AirTags for all of my checked luggage places, and that was like kind of nice to see when you arrived to airport far away from home, and you see all of them are somewhere here. Like maybe they are still on the plane, but they are at least at this country. That makes you warm feeling, especially if you have multiple stops during your travel. That helps. Sure enough, we were able to get all the luggage in the destination, and everything was intact. And actually, my initial idea was that the airlines banning AirTags not because of the radio frequencies, but rather because customers were telling airline where exactly their luggage is, rather than air company telling you where your luggage is, and that probably were a little bit of the problems for the airlines, and they wanted to prevent this. But at least now they said everything's fine.
I believe people are trying to explain something very simple and stupid as a conspiracy.
Maybe
they just one more frequency emitter on board. Disable it, please. Yeah. So I'm so happy that during the last 10 years we now can use Bluetooth headphones and all using Bluetooth devices on board.
Exactly.
Thanks God.
Even Wi-Fi. Even Wi-Fi is now allowed. And interestingly, you can use Bluetooth on the on your phones. You don't need to turn it off. But they wanted to turn off the AirTags, which have Bluetooth. Well, they also have ultra wideband, but it's it's also a small powered device. It's not something which will influence significantly. But anyway, no more problems. Everybody agreed that you can still use that, and you can put them into your luggage and keep an eye on where this luggage goes. So finally.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, and it looks like Europe likes regulating everything, and especially having
Yeah,
this USB-C everywhere.
yeah. It was a
They
couple of.
they would better they would better regulate that iPad should have landscape camera instead of portrait one. That would be much better for us.
I recently heard a joke that soon there will be a regulation in European Union that you can only create software using JavaScript.
No, no, please, no, please, no, no.
Yeah, hopefully no. But
I know where our deputy from EU Commission sits. I will ask him to vote against this.
yeah. Okay, a couple more updates and we'll probably wrap up for today. I would like to announce the probably the end of the week of the Q&A sessions. So it's not a news right now. So let's just mention that since October 17 to October 21, Apple hold online event without any sessions, but rather Q&A sessions in Slack and office hours when you could have one-on-one session with Apple engineers on the topics of your choice. So there are a lot of different technologies which you could connect with Apple in regards to. So again, they do that from time to time. Previously, they also had small sessions when they had a refresher of the technology or something like that. And now this week was just purely like your questions. You can ask them in Slack or in the channel, or you can have a direct access to the engineers and talk to them. It is good. Apple keeps this tradition going. I mean, it might be we might want to have them doing some I don't know, event style things with the presentations, with some sessions where you can, but still ability to ask questions and get answers directly from the engineers is something really good. I mean, I really like that Apple keeps this thing going, and we hopefully we'll get more, maybe even this year or at least early next year. So keep an eye on that. And if you listening to us right now and you still have some questions, you probably have some time to ask yours and try to get some attention to your.
Don't put these comments on our YouTube channel. So go to Apple.
Yeah, Apple might give you more detailed answer. Yeah. Or at least they might say that nothing can be done. Yeah, that also happens from time to time.
Yeah, it's actually some trend inside Apple. I see that, I don't know, since COVID started in 2020, I believe they decided that being transparent, being more developer-facing company, since developers generate a lot of income for them, that would be nice. And they're going into this direction, and I'm happy that they're doing this. Finally, still radars is a bad approach.
Well, they're no radars; they're now feedback assistant, but it's still
It's impossible to use this just because it's you don't have a transparency on what is the status. It's in comparing to another company that don't want to listen to my feedback, but still they are very transparent, is JetBrains. Okay, they have items in their backlog that I posted about 10 years ago, like this, maybe 9, and they don't want to do this, but still, I see that it is there. They don't plan to do this. I see it's in their priority list. It's wonderful. Apple, might be a good idea to do something like this.
Yeah. I mean, now I also see a couple of items I've felt a lot many years ago, but they also could be in similar status. And but you can't know if they actually anybody looks into those, or it's just archived for forever.
Yeah. Don't touch this. Don't answer this question.
Yeah. This is something really old. Let's not even let's not look into that. Probably some folder with the name something "Don't look." Yeah. Okay, I think we need to cover two things and they are connected to each other. First, iOS 16 adoption is better than it was adoption for the iOS 15. The report was actually done in September, and the numbers are that within first 10 days there are a lot more devices updated to the iOS 16 rather than it was for the iOS 15s. And I think it might be the case that iOS 15 was the first which introduced two separate releases, like you stay on the current release and the next release is shown to you, but it's not forced. And people were a little bit confused with that.
Yeah, we had the same with iOS 15. Yeah, so.
15. Yeah. And iOS 16 was it was showing you the new release, like more how would I put it? Like it's more prominent, and probably people were deciding to update like in a good way. But I will see how the adoption goes in the long run. But probably I would expect that it will be better than it was iOS 15. And another report, which is a little bit interesting if you're choosing the platform to develop your application on, it says that almost 90% of teenagers in US use iPhone, like 89 something percent, and about a third of US teenagers own Apple Watch. So like these are actually big numbers, and we're speaking about teenagers. Yes, that's not the whole population of the United States. And if we look into
most active,
but market. Exactly, that people actually use their devices, and potentially they will not just buy an iPhone, but they might also buy an application and use those applications. So these potentially are target audience, and they might show your applications to their parents or to their siblings, or to like those are the people who actually interact with the phones and know their features. So again, thinking about the like platform, probably you need to consider iOS, and probably you might consider it as a main platform if you target the teenagers and you want your application to be on the general market rather than some specific solution. One thing also I would like to note here is that iPhones, I believe it was for the Q2 of this year, in US they were sold more iPhones than any Android phones. So this was one of the first quarters when they actually not just in teenagers or for a specific brand, but rather it was more iPhones than Android phones altogether. So again, it seems that Apple regains a couple of the market here. So you probably need to take a note on that and be sure to properly support features of the phones, and having the adoption of the new platforms, like new release, and the market share. That probably means that you can target iOS 15 and 16 as your targets. Well, yeah, you potentially want to target all the releases as well, but you don't need to support really old. If you limited in your resources, you can probably just use 15 and 16, and that will cover a lot of users. And just think about that. It's an interesting stats in terms of being a developer.
Yeah. Okay.
I think with this encouraging note for those who develop for Apple platforms, we can finish this episode. And at the moment, I can't say where exactly we will get back again. We always hope to do that in the next, in 2 weeks, but honestly, probably that won't happen. We will try, but again, expect
November 3rd sounds good. We can try. Okay.
We can try. Yeah, we can try. Yeah. Again, it's something we always strive to get into that. Maybe by that time somebody will have new hardware to discuss. I don't know, Apple Watch Ultra or maybe new iPhone. Who knows? We'll see. We are the podcast without any sponsorship, so we have to buy our own devices.
Yeah. To review them.
Yeah. It's we will see. Okay, thank you very much for coming. Hopefully to see you again in 2 weeks, but like still wait for us. Look for our Twitter or Telegram or whatever you keep an eye on our updates. We will get back soon.
Yeah, give us some sign if you want to see us in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.